Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rudy from Deloitte, and I'm very delighted to have a few people here in this room to talk about core modernization. And before we go into the topic, I would like to introduce our panelists. And for those who are in the industry for a long, long time, both of them are very famous in the Asia-Pac market. So for those young InsureTech companies who are here, you should get to know those two gentlemen next to me. So on my very left side, I have Woody. Woody is the founder and CEO of eBaoTech and InsureMO. And some fun facts about Woody. He has a PhD in physics, and he has founded eBaoTech 23 years ago. So he can tell you a lot about his experiences when it comes to core implementations in the insurance industry. And then next to Woody, we have Balaji. He's the General Manager and Account Manager for DXC Technologies in APJ. He has 30 years experience in the insurance industry. And a fun fact, and I really think that is almost unbelievable. 30 years ago, or was it 30 years ago, you delivered the first unit-linked solution in Singapore ever, right? So that is 3 decades ago. So today, we talk about the topic of core modernization in the world of monolith, right? And I want to go back to what Rishi, the AIA Group CEO for agency distribution, said in one of the early panels, where he said, we need to fix the core to make sure our body is healthy, right? And a lot of people in the insurance industry are a little bit scared to actually modernize their core because there have been a lot of horror stories out there in the industry about modernizing the core, transforming the core, costs a lot of money. There's not a lot of business value that we see, and people put their career, on the line if they are brave enough to go into a true core transformation. But we can't not do nothing, right? We need to move the needle somehow. And we from Deloitte, we're talking to a lot of clients about this problem statement, and we do see 3 major approaches that insurance carriers are taking. Number 1 are the real brave ones. They are taking the big bang. And number 2 are the ones who are not so brave, and they do what I call the externalization, basically moving business logic, product development, underwriting rules from a system from the old system of records, from the old legacy into another layer on top of it, but keep the system of records. And some of them, number 3, are doing the greenfield approach. For all the new products, they take their own little tech stack, and for the in-force business and for the old products, they keep the old legacies. Now, having said that, of course, with 2 very famous people from the insurance industry, we want to understand how eBao/DXC are actually dealing with this problem statement and what they see, how the industry is behaving and what they're doing. So now let's start with Woody. Woody, with all these challenges on the monolith and the anxiety about doing a proper core transformation, what is your strategy from a business point of view, from a technology point of view, how to help your clients moving out of this dilemma?
Thank you. Is okay?
Can we hear it?
Yep. Thank you very much for your time to attend this very tedious and kind of painful session. As Rudy said, core is inevitable. You have to confront it. You have to modernize it one way or another, right? So our first recommendation is to break your core into pieces and fix different capability in different approach at a different time. So that is a general statement. So we call it so-called decompose the core is the future. It's not everything in a box. It's a different capability assembled with a different capability replaced with a different time. Some are more urgent, some less urgent. So broadly speaking, we divide them into 3 layers. One is the system record, which is equivalent to the hard disk of a computer. And the other is the CPU and the motherboard, which is containing all the logic, the controls, and the connectivity. And then you have a lot of devices, such as your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse, a lot of things that enable you to interact with your users. So all these I call the user apps. So eventually, modern core will consist these 3-layer capabilities. And which capability you want to replace or modernize urgently, which you can keep it for a while, really depends on your own situation. So we have customers in all different kind of approaches. There are big bank customers. There are people who keep the system record and replace our InsureMO as the so-called CPU and motherboard. And then the apps, some of the apps are still useful, then you use it. Some apps you need to add more, you just add more. But apps are so easy to build and so easy to maintain, it becomes a lesser issue where you don't need to so-called streamline so much. You leave them kind of, just like leaves and flowers, they come and go. So that is our overall approach, which enable you to get business value very quickly, continuously. At the same time, you modernize your core over time.
Thanks, Woody. And I guess based out of your strategy, right, that's how InsureMO was born, right? Out of this decomposing your monolith and your old systems. So that's why you have this InsureMO layer that you actively market for the insurance industry, right?
Yeah. So InsureMO is the center of this decomposed core. So it's like a computer. Without CPU and motherboard, you cannot do anything, right? So eventually, this will contain all the logic, the formulas, rules, everything, and also connectivity. So, motherboard of computer connects all the devices. So we are connecting to a lot of ecosystem, channels, car dealers, credit card companies, payment companies, HR portal, everything. Right? So eventually, this is also a business source for insurance company. It's not just an enterprise software in your, office. So we are really creating an industrial utility that contains your CPU and motherboard as well as connect to all your ecosystem partners. So that is where InsureMO is really going to be the position.
Thanks, Woody. And that's very interesting. And now I would hand over the microphone to Balaji, because Balaji, of course, being from DXC, and DXC being a very famous name in the insurance industry for many, many decades, right? And part of the big insurance carriers are still running your older version of the software. Would you also see that decomposition is the way forward, and how is DXC as a company trying to help their clients to go into this journey?
Actually, DXC has transformed a lot in the sense our new offering is completely a SaaS-based offering. And what we are doing is we are helping customers to decomponentize what they have. So we are focused on areas of the challenges the customer has, things like product externalization, open architecture, and then about data, how to make. They have data across various systems, how to make it like real-time data. So what we have done is we've developed a stack which will actually have components which the customers can use. And even for those customers who want to have the kind of rich functionality and the rich product base that DXC normally offers, in our new stack, it's all driven by microservices. So really for customers say, I want to do a heart transplant for whatever system they have, we can do it. But we also tell them, okay, look at what you want, what your business really wants. If they want to go from being product focused into customer focused. They got options to do that. Similarly, they got options to basically get ecosystem aligned. So have an open architecture where they can talk to, they can collaborate more and more richer in the sense of APIs. And also on the data front, we are building models where they can actually use AI, etc. So you got two options really. A big bang where the customers say, I want to go for a heart transplant completely. Then we have a solution for that. Otherwise, they say, okay, I have this. It's running, the system of records. I want to do a lot more so that I can manage the eco, social dynamics, what the industry is going through. And, they can really, really transform their business. So that's the approach we have taken.
Thanks, Balaji. I mean, from what you see on your client base, are you still seeing big bangs happening? Or is the externalization approach the leading approach in the industry?
See, what I'm seeing is mostly the big bangs are very few. Really where the customer is looking for is value for the buck. And what they're looking for is mainly in areas of product externalization. They want to really get there into the digital mandate. They want to address the digital mandate, what the industry has, and new players are coming up. So a lot are looking towards product externalization, going for API ecosystem, and they're going for the data part. So it is very much on a decomponentized approach. In fact, I have seen people even move their workloads, even on the functionalities. If they have a system that they've been using and they want to move out, say reinsurance, they want to move out certain functionalities, they're able to move out to the cloud. So what I'm seeing is a lot are doing it in an agile fashion. And there are those who are really struggling with a lot of systems and they want to unify it. They want to have a strong microservices based architecture. In that sense, they go for the whole heart transplant. I call it heart transplant because it is literally that. But they should be prepared to do it, or their pain points should be so much that they want to do it. Then they go for that. Yeah.
So you're basically saying less big bangs are coming. A few are still out there, but the majority is going towards the decomposing of the architecture and doing kind of an agile step-by-step approach. Do you see the same happening?
Yeah, I totally agree. For most people, getting fast business value is key.
A bit closer.
And,
a little bit closer.
If you can have a roadmap that actually, over time, you modernize your core, that's the best, right? So what InsureMO is offering is that win-win roadmap. It's not a trade-off. It's not like I do this, I ignore the other. You do your core modernization over time, but at the same time, you gain business benefit immediately and continuously. And each initiative, you move to a better core, and over a few years' time, you are 100% modernized. So that, for us, is the win-win approach.
Great, thanks. So the summary is really going into something that creates value fast and business value, not just technology value, and enables you to adapt to the new trends and technologies. So coming a little bit to new technologies, right? We hear the buzzword of Gen AI and stuff like that. How are you seeing those new technology being part of the overall architecture with maybe your software components in it? Are you investing in this? Are you integrating with those technologies? Are you talking to the hyperscalers of the world? How are you preparing for these new technologies that are coming our way very, very fast, right?
So there's been a lot of focus on that. In fact, the Gen AI, we are giving SaaS solutions. And what we are telling we are thought leaders in some of these areas, which we have seen countries, they follow, they have successes. And when they come to Asia, they want to replicate that. So we give outcome-based solutions. And it's all, mostly what I'm seeing is a lot of people are going towards SaaS. And they use the models which in this case, DXC is already built over, having so many customers and in so many countries. So we are able to leverage those models, and we are able to give customers that kind of impetus on like a Gen AI. Collaboration is the key thing. We are collaborating with a lot of ecosystem, like bank assurance, another very hot topic, and about trends, what you can do for your partners. So based on these aspects, we are investing a lot on the Gen AI part and the AI part, and we are sharing these models to our customers and developing from there.
So from our angle, this is an excellent example of how uncertain our future is. So in a way, InsureMO is not an application. It is a platform for developing application fast and cheap, because nobody knows what application you need and what are the other capabilities that you need to incorporate into your application. So InsureMO is really an infrastructure. It's not an application in any traditional sense. So we work with a lot of people, AI company, core system vendors, our traditional competitors. We are trying to eventually work with DXC as well as partners. But eventually this industry needs everybody to work together to even catch up. It's not so much a zero-sum competition. It is everybody focus on their strength and work together to create value for the industry. So in my view, AI is going to have a huge impact to the industry. How? Nobody knows. It's going to be a continuous experimentation. And what they need is a very powerful infrastructure platform for the experimentation. It's not a final solution. Nobody knows what is the final solution. So what we are really aiming for is to provide that industrial infrastructure platform so that innovation can happen very fast and cheap.
Thanks, Rudy. So I guess before we sum up the conversation, maybe some last advice to maybe some InsureTech companies who are in the room, and of course who want to promote their software. You guys are so long in the industry and you have seen so much happening in the industry. What would you give those new technologies and new ideas and new solutions? What advice would you give those younger companies after being in the industry for 20, 30 years?
Yeah, actually, that's a passionate area for me, because we are believing a lot in the partnership, as Udi said. Like, we are open. So, I mean, we can't be the best in everything, right? We have to be best in one, and best of breeds is what we look for. So the thing is, we want companies to join hands. We want, I mean, I'm going a little more, little more into a higher level where I'm saying, hey, let's give back something to the insurance industry. So something like, new business, agency, right selling, claims, no-touch claims. There are so many areas where we can partner and give a lot of value to the customer, and in the process, the insurer. So they improve the customer experience, etc. So we are, what I think is, from the InsureTech point of view, you got to look at your business outcomes and where you're going to make a difference and collaborate. You can't do everything, but it's about handshaking with companies like us to give better value to the insurer who's already, wedded with us in running their business. But there's no point in going into that, but there's a lot of things on the collaborative area with the way the world is changing that you can, you can actually partner with us and do things. I think that should be the approach an InsureTech should take.
Thanks, Balaji. Woody, your last word to the InsureTech.
I'm often asked, when are you going to retire? Oftentimes. I started eBaoTech 23 years ago with an aim to make insurance easy. And I look at today, I say insurance is still far away from being easy. So that means I still have a lot of work to do. I still have a long way to go. So I'm not going to retire very soon. But fundamentally, this is a big industry. It is a very complex industry, highly regulated industry. But a lot of people's life depend on it. It is an industry that needs to be much easier and has to be much easier. but it will not be easy to achieve that goal itself. So anybody who get into this industry, if you're still not regretting today, you should prepare to take a long march, and this is a marathon. It takes a lot of depth. It needs to have a lot of deep understanding of the industry to innovate. To innovate effectively is not easy. A lot of people coming into this industry thinking that it's a piece of cake, it's so lousy an industry, I can make a huge impact very quickly and easily. That has been proven wrong. A lot of people have been burned, a lot of money has been wasted. But again, this industry needs to be much easier. So that task is still to be accomplished. So I would be very happy to work with a lot of younger people to keep moving in that direction. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So I guess to summarize our quick talk, right? So first of all, core modernization is a topic that is hot in the industry and no one can run away from it. Sooner or later, you have to go the way. Now, what's the best way needs to be determined by your internal people, maybe by some consultants. And I guess the way of decomposing your architecture, the way of externalization is likely the best balanced way to go ahead, given the experience that we see. And giving some thoughts to Balaji, who basically say collaboration is everything. I agree. And also what Woody said is insurance is complex, so for the young people in the room, make sure you understand insurance, not just from a technology, but also from a business point of view. And overall, I hope that was a meaningful discussion. We are here for the next few hours if you have any questions, and thank you very much for your time. And I hope I see you outside at the booth. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of the day.